Hi.
So talk a little bit about making Defenders and maybe what surprised you about the scripts that you weren't expecting.
I had no. I remember leading up to our shooting. I was so fascinated to know what I was gonna read. I had no idea what the show was gonna be tonally, what the stories were gonna be, how the characters were gonna interact. So I don't think that I could have been surprised. What I was hoping for was that it relied heavily on the relationships, which it does, I think. And the best fun that I had were the scenes where these characters start to get to know each other, and when they interact for the first time, and when they, I love the dynamic that Matt has with Jessica. They initially kind of clash. They don't have any interest in being friends or making friends, and they kind of discover against their will almost that they like each other and that they respect one another, and that relationship was most fun for me. But I don't know if there's anything I was surprised by.
In what way do you think, every character ultimately is affected by interaction. Coming out of Defenders, in what way do you think Jada was permanently altered by the group and characters?
Of Defenders?
Yeah.
I can't answer that because I can't answer that because it is I think for all of the characters they are changed tremendously by the end of this show, and it's possible to talk about without giving it away. But suffice to say that I think Matt will have to reconsider everything up until this point in a very profound fashion.
What was the hardest scene to shoot, whether it was fight or otherwise?
The hardest scenes to fight.
Well, to shoot, whether it was fight or something else.
Oh, to shoot, yeah. It would have been the fight scenes. Obviously they're incredibly complicated. But when we do a fight scene in DD, it's often me versus a lot of bad guys, and those bad guys are stunt doubles, and they can be moved and placed, and they're such amazing professionals. They know each other's choreography sometimes. If you can kind of shoot a day and flip people around, and it's me that has to be consistent, or my stunt double has to be consistent in those moments. Doing the Defenders, of course, the choreography involved 4 of us at times, and that is really complicated because if there's a particular sequence that my character does, if in the background you see Kristen, then she needs to be getting her part right as I'm getting my part right. And then when you add 2 more actors into the mix in a very short period of time, it just required a lot more precision and a lot more. The choreography had to be immaculate. It was a really fun challenge, but very hard.
I was going to say, talk a little bit about when you obviously have scenes where the 4 of you are together. So talk a little bit about the first time you all shot that, and is there like a giddiness on getting to set that day, knowing that you're finally doing something that the fans have been waiting to see this entire time?
There is, man, and I never thought I would feel that way because I didn't grow up on comics. I've said this a couple of times today, so forgive me if you've heard it already, but I never understand why people are so obsessed with asking me about the Avengers and whether I'm going to be in it. I get it asked every interview I do, and I never understood why people were so interested in that question. And now I get it, because we've done the Defenders, and those first scenes where we meet up and where we all come together, and when Iron Fist looks at me and says, "Wait, who are you?" kind of stuff. There's something now that you know these characters and the idea that they exist in this one universe, this one world, it is thrilling. When you begin to love these characters in a way that I think we are now. You get excited, and also I've got to a point now where I'll read something in a script and I'll think, oh, the fans are gonna like that's gonna be a cool moment. The first time you guys have seen some of the episodes, so the first time Matt walks in and meets Jessica Jones, when I read that at the end of that episode, I was like, that's cool.
Can you talk a little bit about, obviously we're going to see a very different version of Elektra now, and that was something that obviously Matt loved a lot, and then also he's going to be maybe interacting with Claire again, who's like now with Luke Cage. Like, what is that relationship and kind of tension going to be like?
The Elektra one?
Either, or Claire and everything.
Well, the Claire one, there was so much to do in the show, and we didn't even get a chance to discuss or explore that at all. Similarly, the backdrop to all of this is there's this ongoing tension with Karen Page, which we didn't get to explore in great deal of detail. But yeah, more so with Elektra. I mean, made super complicated by the fact that the last time he saw her, she was dead. So we all know what that's like, right?
Oh yeah.
I think that what's painful for Matt is that I think when Elektra reappears, I think I think deep down he knows in his heart that whoever that is, it's not her. But he manages to convince himself momentarily that it might be, or that it could be, or that she could come out of it, she could be refound. And he's really, I think he knows in his heart he's grasping onto an impossible dream. That I think if he were to find her, it's not so much that he could have her, or that they could be together. It's more that maybe it would alleviate some of the guilt. So that was interesting to play as an actor, because it was to have to want something and to tell people you believe it's possible and to have those feelings, but I think to also know deep down that you're a crazy person for thinking that was fun, and anything that complicates a relationship like that it makes anything more interesting.
The official photo was released and it had all four of you on the cover. Everyone looked extremely serious except your character, who was smiling in the photo.
Which photo?
It was the official photo that was released.
Can you show it to
It
me?
was everyone in the crowds, and it was like, there was a long list, and there was everyone, and there was you, who was the only one smiling.
Oh, in Entertainment Weekly.
I think that was
In the magazine.
Yeah, that's
it's
one
not
of
the poster. You're not
okay.
talking about,
No, it's one of the official photos.
one of the official photos.
Yeah, can you
Yeah, I can say exactly what that was. That was because Mike had just made a joke, and I was laughing, and it was there was no way that shouldn't have been the photo, because Matt would never be doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously they liked it, and so that was Charlie. That was not Matt Murray.
This is your third go around as the character with the two seasons of Defenders. How has it gotten easier, and has it gotten harder in any ways to play? The physicality, the art of sight.
Yeah, I think the technical stuff I'm getting better at it. Mm-hmm. I have to think less about it, which is an actor is what you're always aiming for, because you want to be in the feelings and in the moment, and not be thinking about the technical side of your job. So that's got a little easier, like playing someone who's visually impaired, the accent, using the cane and all that kind of stuff. What's difficult sometimes, I think, for an actor in a TV show, even one that's brilliantly written, is that I've played this character now for 31 hours, and you kind of do have to rehash a lot of the same. And life can be like that. I get it. It's not a criticism in any way. You have to rehash a lot of feelings, or a lot of Sometimes people do. Myself included, sometimes your life is just in a pattern of the same problems and mistakes or whatever it is, But in terms of making the show, I've had a lot of scenes where Foggy is mad at me and I'm trying to defend myself. And for example, and in those scenes I'm trying to find new and interesting ways to play those scenes. And so that's a challenge. I find that quite challenging. And so I'm always communicating with the writers and trying to make sure that if we're going to have a scene. Like if Matt's going to go back and see Father Lantham again, and he's going to sit and talk about the guilt that he feels, that's fine, but I need his attitude to have been somewhat changed based on recent events. So otherwise I start to be frustrated for the characters. I do think it's okay for them to be in a rut. But then when you've got something like the end of season 2 of Daredevil, where Matt failed himself and the people that he loved. I mean, it ended with him holding the woman that he loved in his arms. That changes you forever, I think, and you have to therefore, your attitude going forward has to be at least changed to some degree. Yeah.
The brooding solitude quality that every superhero character seems to possess. There's a profound individualism in that experience. Is it odd to possess that in an ensemble where everybody in a way has it?
Yeah, I think Matt has a certain variety of it. Matt's is different. I know what you mean, and I hadn't actually thought that, but when you're hearing you say it, you're right. I think Jessica, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn, but Jessica's version of that is drinking. Matt, I think, thinks about God. I think some of the scenes I've enjoyed doing the most as his character is, we see him go out and kick ass. And then, he's not then celebrating. He's back at home and he's feeling the loneliness and the eternal damnation of his actions. And that's dope. Are you joining?
I'm joining.
She's just like perpetually like kicking me out of my
Milking all the interviews.
It's so casual.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Hamilton.
Just real fast though.
Yeah.
Have they told you when you start filming season 3?
Yep.
Oh, you
Good. Nice dodge. Well done.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
Later.
Bye.
How you doing?